Welcome to our Hello Doctor, Hello Diva podcast, where we want to provide you unlimited inspiration that will help you mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. We're on our second episode, which is Own Your Lane. I am Dr. Manisa Slater, Dr. CPA.
And I am Tammy Moore, the Diamond Diva, and I'm really excited about this topic tonight because when I think of owning your lane, I always think of the story of if you've ever been on a highway and you've been in the slow lane and people start blowing and passing by you and, flicking you off and everything. And if you've ever been riding with by a senior person and they're driving slow, they could care less.
Exactly.
They still gonna get where they going,
And
and
they're
you
going to be like this.
Yep, and you still gonna get where you going to. So, but accidents happen when you don't stay in your lane.
So stay in your lane.
Yeah, so stay in your lane and go at your own speed. And think about whenever you feel like you're behind, think about a senior citizen on the highway could care less about you and anybody else and where you're trying to go. They just getting where they're trying to go.
Yes.
So, with that being said, has there ever been a time where you questioned how slow things were happening in your life?
I'm laughing because a lot of times. There were times in my career that I would just say that, man, I was like, why is this going so slow for me? Because you see everybody around
Hmm.
you. But I mean, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes, Lord.
And I have to say that once I start realizing that things will happen in a time that they're supposed to happen for
Hmm.
me, that's when it got better for me.
Yeah.
So, how did you handle things moving slowly for you?
I think the same too. I think when I realized that a lot of things that I wanted, I wasn't ready for. And so when I got them, I realized the weight that they carry
Oh,
to do it. But also, too, it is comparison because really you don't really know what's happening in anybody else's life until you actually start to look at their life. So that's when you really start to compare. It's just like being on a highway. It's like if you're on the highway by yourself, you don't think about the speed you're going. It's only when cars start passing you by. And so sometimes when you see people and it seems like you're at the same education level or same age and they're doing something different than you begin to question what God is doing in your
I
life.
mean, and you don't know what they had to do to get there. We talked about
That
this,
part.
right? So, I mean, I used to, I don't want to be no Beyonce. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah.
But when I think about Beyonce and people be like, oh, she's so successful and she's doing this and that. And I do not want to put in the hours that she put in
Yes.
to be successful. And she's been doing it her whole entire life.
She gave up her whole
So
life.
so you're seeing the outcome of all that work and effort,
Yeah.
but you not willing to put in that effort to get
Yeah,
there.
you're seeing the highlight reel, and that's really only why and Beyonce is a great example because there's only one Beyonce,
Yes,
often imitated, never duplicated.
exactly.
We're the same. There's only one Manisa. There's only one Tammy, and when you realize that, you are who you are, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Because I remember seeing Beyonce on Star Search when she was like 9 or 10. I'm like, I
She's been
had
working all her
yes,
life, like
and
literally all her
but
life.
the crazy part is they didn't get discovered until
She was like 16,
16 or something like that.
17.
So
Yeah.
from 9 to 16, they were grinding with no results, just little wins here and there, but she never gave up. And that's the thing. Most people give up before they reach, the
Yes, they do.
blessing that they've been waiting for. So stay in your lane and go your speed.
Yeah. So the next question we have is, when did you settle into what God created you to be?
I would say honestly, when I turned 40, I knew who I was supposed to be early on. I knew I was different. I always say special because I was a little weird, just a little weird, just a little bit. Um, I kept to myself. I was quiet, and I guess I thought something was wrong with that. But as I got older, I realized you're just who
Just
you
who you
are.
are. You are just who
And
you are.
you know what? If you were anything different, you wouldn't be the person that you are. So I leaned into my quirks. I leaned into my originality. And when I turned 40, I realized that I could care less what anybody else thinks anyway. I mean, I think I felt that before, but I think 40 was like the turning point for me to be like, you know what? I didn't live my life for everybody else. Let me just do me.
Exactly.
And you know what? I'm gonna be 100% proof. I'm not gonna water it down no more. I'm gonna walk in the room and be
Be who you
me.
gonna be.
I'm gonna be. I do the most. I do. You know what I mean? It's like, so people take you or leave you, because if you start to tweak those little things, then you have many parts of everybody else and not you.
And that's where I had to really realize, right? Because over my life, I feel like I've always been like that outgoing
Mhm.
personality. I've had that outgoing personality. I've been a little loud at
Mhm.
sometimes. But then I look back and I'm like, well, that's who makes me who I
Yeah.
am. And I did have to stop being a complete open book
Yeah.
because I used to be like book wide
Right.
open and you know everything about me. But that was something I had to learn along the way,
Mhm.
and the hurdles that I had to go through, the trials and tribulations, the people that had to use those things against me for me to
Yeah.
realize that, I mean, I can still be who I am, but still be protected in
Mhm.
some ways. Because I did used to envy people that used to be quiet and they didn't
Mhm.
share a lot of things. And I'm like, why am I sharing my whole life story? I have my friend, Tweety,
Mhm.
Adrian, I should say,
Dr.
uh,
Adrian.
Dr. Adrian. She told me one time we was on a plane and I was sitting next to somebody that I didn't know. And she was like, you make friends with
Mhm.
everybody. And you just talk to them. And then they end up telling me their whole life story while I'm talking to them on the plane. But I
That's your
like,
gift.
yeah, that I like
Mhm.
being that person and I like talking to
Yeah.
people. And she recently told me that she loved that about me too.
Yeah.
So that's who makes you who you are.
Yeah. And sometimes too, when you and I tell you this all the time, don't let anybody dim your light. But sometimes when you shine, you highlight others' flaws. Unfortunately, if if they see you happy and complete or succeeding, it kind of highlights what they're unable to do, and what they don't realize is that's not their lane.
Yes.
God has something else for them. It doesn't take anything away from you, and it doesn't take anything away from them, but they haven't come to that realization yet. That's why I always say don't water yourself down, because now you're here and you're bringing yourself down to someone who hasn't figured out who they are yet. And what you are actually doing is helping them figure out who they are, and they don't even realize it.
And it's I'm glad you said that because we recently talked about this at work too. Like you really need to own where you are and
Yes.
who you are
Mm-hmm.
and not let anyone dim you or bring you down because
Yes.
like you said, you're being who your authentic self
Yeah.
and that person can't be you. Like you may think we got the same qualities, we got the same
Mm-hmm.
education, and why this person getting all of this shine or why are they getting influence on why do they have influence on other people, but then that's just who they are.
Yeah.
That's the person, the characteristics they have.
Yeah.
And you may have a gift in somewhere else and in another department
Yeah.
and utilize that gift. So I do have to give a huge shout out to you. And you didn't know I was going to do this at all. She didn't know I was going to do this. She didn't know I was
Uh
going to.
oh.
So I remember this and I won't get all emotional about it. But I remember when I was like I've been doing taxes since I was
Mm-hmm.
17 and I know you've been doing taxes
Mm-hmm.
forever too. And this is tax season and I'm not trying to get any new clients even though they keep swarming to me because I'm just so good. But
She's the bomb, y'all.
but I remember like coming to you and I was like, Tammy, um, do you know any spaces that I can rent out? And you gave me keys to your location
Mm-hmm.
so I could use the office.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pay you.
Yeah.
And you was like, you don't have to pay me. And I just remember thinking like, and then you gave me clients too.
Yeah.
Like some clients I still have that you gave
Mm-hmm.
my way. But you never looked at it like, oh, well, she going to take my tax clients. You was giving me your tax
Yeah.
clients everything. Or, oh, she going to get higher than me. You literally put your hand down to lift me
Yeah.
up. Like, and that's where I feel like people don't do
Yeah.
enough of. So, I mean, I love you and I
Oh,
appreciate you for doing
but the
that.
thing is that that's owning your lane, because me helping you is not going to take anything away from me. Like
Exactly.
literally, my blessings were assigned to me before I was born, and yours too. So I always look at it as God put us in our each other's path for a reason, and so I just never look at people as competition. Like
And,
I
and that's the key, right? You don't look at people
yeah
as, and I don't either. And
yeah
it's always if you do better than me, then I'm looking at how I can do
right
better.
right
Like we gon' we gonna tag team. We
we
gonna be
gonna
together.
collaborate. We not gonna compete.
We all
I
we
mean,
got.
it's right, but and I feel like we would just be so much further along if we realize that, because even in the mortgage business, people, like when we have meetings all the time, they always say, when we go to these like sales things, they always say, who is your competition? And I'm like, me,
Yes, only me.
because I feel like people are assigned to me. I always say that, and I don't really focus on what someone else is doing. I really don't. Like, I can't tell you, what volume someone else is doing, because I don't really care, because it doesn't affect my bottom line.
I mean, what you eat don't make me bleep.
Right. Exactly. But the thing is, that's, to me, that is just a part of being who you are, owning your lane, because when you realize that your lane was designed for you by God, then you don't even look to the left or the right. It's just like I said, I keep referring back to the senior citizen driving. They could care, but you know what? That's wisdom, because
Yes,
an older person could care less, about what you think about what speed they're going. The younger person is worried about everybody around them, and
exactly.
that just comes with wisdom. So I just feel like it's just a lesson for all of us to just be who you are and stop watering yourself down, because you will attract your tribe, and those people that can't handle you will move away from you, and that's okay.
I remember. I mean, I also remember when, like back in the day, when we talked about like what God created you to be. Right.
Hmm.
I remember I used to obtain things and do things based on how I would want other people to feel about me, or
Yeah.
what they would want to see in
Hmm.
me. And I shared this story on Facebook a while ago. I remember being in this big old house with all these cars, and I couldn't afford none of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I trying to impress people that
That
don't care?
and that most of them don't even like you. That's the crazy part. It's like most of the people that criticize you the most or around you the most, they really don't even like you like that. And it's like, what joy, what is it bringing? What is it proving?
Nothing,
Absolutely
nothing. And
nothing.
now that I don't care what people think, I acquire things because I want them.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
Yeah.
And I look the way I look because I like the
Yeah.
way I look. I feel the way I feel because that's how I feel. I mean, when we get to the let them let me,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that
Okay.
more.
Okay.
But
But I feel the same way. Like when I since I was a little girl, I have had a unique style. And so, now I'm not even gonna say now. I never really care what nobody think about what I wear. But I used to have people say, well, you too overdressed for this event. No, I'm Tammy. Like literally, this is what I wanted to
and you
wear.
be looking
And
good,
people don't
girl.
know. I get my clothes out a week in advance. So if you see me somewhere, I was planning to wear this a week
You
ago.
you see this outfit, right? You
It,
see this outfit.
I took this outfit out a week ago. But the thing is that I don't want you to feel some type of way because I'm dressed some type of way. Do you? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
My best friend Helen always says, "Do you show up in the world and do you? Everybody else will
Do
adjust.
you and be you. It's only
Everybody
one
else will."
person that can be you.
Yes, and the thing too is, it's like you're insulting God when you consult others about how you should live your life.
And when
I
you
don't think
try to
people
be
realize
somebody
that.
else.
Yes, when you try to be, listen, out of all the billions of people in the world, there's only one each. There, even twins
Exactly.
are not the same. I mean,
Exactly.
even twins, identical twins, have something about them that makes them unique.
Hmm.
So God has his blueprint, his hand on you, whatever you want to call it, your DNA, all of those things. And so, you know what? You insult the creator when you try
Try
to
to be
be something
somebody else.
else. And you got to realize 99% of what you're seeing in people's lives is a highlight reel.
Let me
Most pe-
tell you.
I live a very public life for what I do in like, but I still I am very private.
Exactly.
And you can be that. That's why when you look at stars and you see all of these things, that's
And
just a
then
highlight
and then
reel.
something happened and you wondered like, I didn't know,
Of
like
course you
people getting
didn't.
divorced, they done had the happiest they relationship goes, right?
Right.
And I'm not putting any relationships down or anything, but you gotta realize that what happens behind closed doors is what happens behind closed
Exactly.
doors.
You're not supposed to be privy to
I
it.
want to be happy in front of you and
And
behind you.
listen, I don't want to live be a public success and a private failure. That is my motto.
Oh, we talk
And
about that.
yeah, I always tell my husband all the time. It's like, I don't really like giving out marital advice, because I'm like, because they not married to Derek and they're not married. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I can't tell you because I don't know enough about your husband to give you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Hmm.
So
Well,
that's owning your lane, own your marriage, own your career, own your calling. A lot of us are sitting on the sidelines of what you're supposed to be because you're worried about what everybody's going to think. And I,
exactly.
and I think that I was thinking about when we were going to do this. If it's anything that I look back on, is that I was, instead of thinking what's the best thing that could happen, I always would think, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? That's what, if I can give you any encouragement today, is to start changing your mindset, saying what's the best thing that could happen,
Yes.
not what is the worst thing, because the if you don't do it at all, you've already failed. If you
Exactly.
try it and you fail, you learn. We
Yeah.
don't we don't lose. We either win or we learn.
I
So
mean, and I want to go back to that when I was living in that big old house with all them cars a long time ago. Uh, but when I was in that situation, like I didn't start doing financial seminars until I felt like I was prepared to talk about it. Let's talk about
you
that.
know that's my pet peeve.
So when I got money in the bank and I had been doing budgets for people, I
Yes.
managed multi billions of
Yes.
dollars for organizations
Yes.
when I was in my finance roles. When I think about that, I'm like, I'm not qualified to tell you how to save money if I don't got no money in the bank.
Yes.
And I'm not qualified to tell you how to budget your money when I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Preach.
And
I
I'm not qualified to tell you, and I've always had a great credit score, so I'm
hmm
going to leave with that. But I'm not qualified to tell you how to manage your credit
if
if
you
I got a bad credit score.
I absolutely, and you know what? There's a lot of grifting going on, and especially on social media, because I feel the same way. My husband and I were laughing about this. Is that there's this guy that does these skits about selling buying courses, and people be like, "Well, I ain't have no money till you pay for my course." I'm big on that. I try to practice what I preach. There's
Yes.
too many people telling you things that they have not achieved. Like, don't tell me about real estate investing if you haven't done it. Don't tell me about, same thing
You
with credit
renting.
scores. Right. You don't even own a home. How you going to tell me how to get a mortgage and you don't have one? Like, I mean, those and we don't ask enough questions.
We do not.
So,
And we just trust
yeah.
and we don't verify.
And part of owning your lane is to stick up for yourself, to
Hmm.
be your own best advocate, because you don't want to be trying, you're here and you're trying to get to this point, and the person that's taking you there is taking you backwards. So that's to me, that's very important. And you have to look, you got to listen, verify the credentials, because there's a lot of people out here telling you stuff that they have never even done.
My first financial seminar was 2018, and I can guarantee you I had zero debt
Yes.
except for my home,
Yeah.
and I had a ton of savings.
Yes.
And that's when I was qualified to tell you how to do it.
I absolutely
Because
agree.
I had messed up all them years,
Yeah.
and then I got it together and pulled it together, and I really got it together now.
Yeah.
But that's when I'm qualified to tell you how to manage your finances.
And you've been there, done that. Like, you have been through the struggles of trying to get yourself together. So to me, like I always tell people when I'm helping them with their credit and stuff, I'm not telling you anything I didn't go through myself. I had to
Exactly.
repair my own credit and all that. So I'm not judging you, or I'm telling you from experience. I'm speaking from experience, and experience is the best teacher. So, but like I said, ask questions, because you're paying money. You're trying to get from point A to point B, and you're trying to get there without doing the work.
Exactly.
You got to look, as Ayanna say, you got to do the work, do your work. So, let's,
We there.
it's good. It's good. But yeah, I do believe that. I believe in, not, I don't stand up and ask somebody to do something that I wouldn't do. It's the same thing at my company. It's like, I wouldn't ask anything of anybody there that I wouldn't do myself. So I'm definitely not going to be telling you how to invest and all that stuff. And then I haven't invested anything. So that's not
Exactly.
going to happen. But
Exactly.
so, leading into our book today,
Yes.
our book is Becoming by Michelle Obama. And
Isn't she lovely?
listen,
Isn't she
our
lovely?
forever FLOTUS, we love her. But I feel like she's the perfect example, because there was no lane. Okay.
None.
There was no
I mean, and I'm telling you, read this book.
yeah.
I listened to it on my way from driving my daughter from Tennessee back here,
Yeah.
11 hours. I listened to the entire book, and she narrated her
Yes.
own book, and it was
Yes.
outstanding,
Yes.
outstanding.
There was no blueprint. There was no lane of what a first African American black first lady from the South Side of Chicago should do,
South Shore.
and she owned her lane like she was. I say Shell, First Lady, Miss Obama, FLOTUS, all of the titles. She owned it. She wore what she wanted to wear.
Hmm.
She said what she wanted to say, and she did not water herself down because you know what, they were going to talk about it anyway, no
Regardless,
matter what she
she
did.
could have been perfect, perfect, perfect.
Yes,
10,
yes.
and still they were going to talk about her.
And what I love about it, her book is it did bother her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for us to not to say we're not bothered is not true because we're human. We all have feelings. But it did bother her, but it didn't change her.
It did not change her.
That is the part that sticks out to me because it's like she's like, okay, that's how you feel. I'm good with that. I'm still gonna be Michelle. And that part I love about becoming because even now I feel like she's more settled into herself because she doesn't have all the stately things to do, and she has her own podcast and with her brother, and she's wearing her hair how she wants to wear her hair, and but she knew the time and the place for everything that she was doing, but she still showed up in every room as Michelle Obama.
And I was so happy with the nuggets she shared in the book. I mean, it had me questioning, and when I say it had me questioning, like she was taking piano lessons as a kid. She learned so much. Like her mom was so in tune with what
Yes.
she needed. So I'm like going home thinking I need to teach my kids how to play
Yeah.
the piano and ensuring that they get the knowledge that they deserve.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm thinking about like all the things she said because it was just so much.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was so many
It was so
golden
good.
nuggets.
Yeah.
But what I will say about the book, I probably wouldn't have married Barack. But it takes like when God puts
Yes.
you in a lane and creates you for that purpose,
Yeah.
she lived and owned that purpose.
Yeah. And
Now I'm not saying he a bad person or anything at all.
but
it was
I think she saw his potential.
yeah, she saw the potential and she was patient.
But you know what else too?
Very
She
patient.
saw his heart.
Yes.
She really did because and she talks all the time about how he had a heart for the people and how he would be up at night like, well, somebody's got to change this. Somebody's got to do something. It's like you're that he realized he was the person to do it, but things didn't sit right with him. And I love that about him because we always sit back and say somebody should do something. It's like, well, maybe just maybe you're the person that needs to do it.
Exactly.
And he never let go of that inkling in his gut that somebody needed to do something, and he was the one that needed to do it. But he had compassion.
Yes.
And sometimes it's like we bypass that diamond in the rough, because we want what we want right now.
And this is why I was saying like you have to stay in your own
Yes.
lane, right? Because
that's what's her
yeah,
lane.
and that was her lane.
But it
because
wouldn't be your lane.
I don't think it would have been your lane because we need that
Yeah.
attention. We need that. I mean, we want our spouse there all the time, but she was able to step back,
Yeah.
raise the kids, and let him be there for the
Yes.
people. And I think about pastors' wives too.
Yes.
They have to
That's a
do
whole
the
nother-
same thing.
They do.
So
they have to share with the world.
you have to
And it's
share
so
with the
hard.
world.
That's a lot. That's a big responsibility. Is to be able to open your life up to everybody. Be open to public scrutiny, and then share your man with everybody. No.
And see, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
This is her lane.
Yeah,
But I really appreciate like her sharing her story with us and actually the growth she had to
Yeah.
go through. And it was times that, and she shared her vulnerabilities too, because it was times she was upset
Oh, yeah.
that she was alone.
Rightfully so.
And
Yeah.
she had to be with the kids and she was doing all those things. But she shared those trials and how she got through it. And look, they still going strong.
One of my favorite one of the two things that I learned from her is that she said in an interview before he became president that she had her kids set that they had an alarm clock. She said when she was little, her mom made them wake up with an alarm clock because it taught them responsibility. I immediately put an alarm clock in my son's room and had him start to get up, because I used to wake him up every day and have had him get up. That was one.
Yes.
And two was, she also mentioned in the book that she used to be mad at President Obama for working because he was working out and she wasn't. And she was like, I would be sitting there me
And
mugging
then
him
she
like,
started getting
and
up
she
at
was
4
like,
a.m.
girl, you better get up and
She
work
got
out
up at
yourself.
4 a.m. and started
So
working out.
but the
That's
thing
why
is,
she had them guns.
you're responsible for your own happiness.
Yes.
And listen, happiness is an inside job. So you can't look to somebody else to do it. You got to do it for
Exactly.
yourself. So.
Exactly.
So let's see what else we said on here. As you have become, are there people in your life who struggle with your growth or progress? What's the best way to handle naysayers that try to dim your light?
I used to wonder, like for me, I used to wonder, well, why is it that my happiness is making you upset?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and sometimes it's not even outright
Mm-hmm.
upsetness. It's just the way people start treating you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm always a cup half full type of person.
Yeah.
So anything that go on with me, it's just like, oh, I woke up this morning, I'm
Yeah,
happy.
yes.
And it doesn't have to be something big, but that's why I always feel like God continues to bless me,
Yes.
because I'm
You're
always
grateful.
grateful,
Mm-hmm.
even for the little things, hot running water,
Mm-hmm.
anything I'm extremely grateful for. And so those blessings, any blessing that I get, I'm going to be grateful
Yeah.
for. And so how I deal with others, when it used to bother me all the time, I used to be like, well, why is this person not speaking to me? Why are they upset that I'm sharing
Mm-hmm.
my happiness? Now, I still share my happiness, but I'm cognizant
You're
on how
selective.
I share it.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the room.
Yes.
I start reading the room for things now.
That's so good. I was gonna say that's so good, because the thing is, it's like you have to be selective who you share it with, and you start to see, you can feel people's spirit
Energy. You feel
energy.
it.
That's a good word. You can feel people's energy when it changes, and sometimes, like when my life wasn't all together, and I was just in a rough spot, and I would feel some type of way, I had enough emotional intelligence to unpack it.
Yes.
And that would be my recommendation to everybody, is know how to unpack why you feel the way you feel, because it truly has nothing to do with the other person.
Nobody
And
except
everything
for
to do
you.
with you. And so I would say, why do I feel? And I would say, well, because they have a great relationship and mine sucks. When I was married before, seriously, it's
Yeah.
like marriages were triggering for me, because I was so miserable and everybody else was happy, but it had nothing to do with them. That was my own
Exactly.
insecurity.
It was your choice
That's
that you
right.
was making on a day-to-day basis.
That's it. I was dealing with the choices that I made. And so the one thing that I would say to anyone that sees their, somebody moving ahead of them or doing something different, something that they don't have the courage to do, the more you congratulate people, I know this may sound crazy, the more you celebrate others, God will open doors for you.
Exactly.
It-
And that doesn't matter if they 10 steps ahead of you. Always be happy for
Yes.
people. And that's something I never struggle with.
Yeah.
But that's why I always struggle when people wasn't happy
Yeah.
for me.
Because you're judging
Because I'm
others by themselves.
always happy
Yeah.
for a person, no matter where they are in life. I'm always happy for another person.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to root you on.
Yes.
And it's been times where I didn't have no money.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in bad marriages, but I was always
Always cheering
rooting and I was always cheering for people. And that's why I was saying I was struggling so bad for when I was finally getting
Yeah.
certain things for me and finally getting that happiness, why I had that certain energy.
Yeah.
But now, again, we're going to talk about let them and
Yes.
let me.
And I want to say one thing before we go to that, because I mentioned grifting earlier. That's why it's so important to know who you are looking up to and following, because a lot of people's success is not I'm gonna say the godly way or the right way.
Exactly.
And so sometimes my discerning spirit is so strong, sometimes it scares me when I see that you're not doing right and you're portraying something different. It bothers me.
Yes.
Because you're the Bible always says, don't be a stumbling block. You don't want to be a stumbling block to somebody and have them out here following your path, and your path is You're not even on a path.
Like them girls with them bodies on Instagram, and they didn't got all that work done, but they
But they
act
won't.
like
They working out,
they working out.
or people
I
who.
mean, you still have to work out when you
Hmm.
get the stuff done. But be
Exactly.
truthful about that. You
Tell the
got that
truth.
tummy tuck, you got that
Exactly.
BBL, and you working out to keep it.
Because if you're in your own lane, you don't care. It's
Yes.
like that's what you decide you wanted to do. But people that scam and lie and make it seem like that they're doing something they're not. What you're doing is you're a stumbling block to
Yes.
somebody. But for me, I always say, what, I can't control what nobody else does with me. So I don't, I try to look it up, but I'm not gonna. One thing I'm big about, I don't celebrate phoniness.
Yes. And you
I'm
have to, and this is coming back to owning your lane,
Yes,
right? If you want to be in your phony lane, go ahead and be in your phony lane.
yeah,
I'm going to stay in my true, genuine lane, and I'm going to stay in my own
right.
lane. But I'm not going to let you tell me that you doing something and convince me to do otherwise.
That's
And
right.
this is where you got to own your lane
Yes.
and know and
Be true
discern,
to yourself.
have your
Yes,
that discernment on
yes,
who you trust and who, because it is things that you should listen to and golden nuggets that you'll get from different people.
yes,
Like I have inspirations all over the place,
yes.
but I'm following that inspiration based on my discernment.
That's right, and that's what's most important when you are authentically yourself, and when flaws and all, because nobody's perfect. When you flaws and all, when you're authentically yourself, you also have clear vision. But
Yes.
if you're not living in your truth, you can't see like they say, you can't see the forest or the trees because everything's cloudy around you. So that's important. The other leading into
Let them and let me.
yes, it's good because that comes in. That's going to be our next topic, is let them and let me, because sometimes you just got to let people be them.
Yes.
It's like you can't consume yourself with what other people are doing. Just focus on yourself.
If you want to be a chronic liar, go ahead.
Right. That's
Go ahead and continue lying. Lie about the color panties you got on.
yes,
Lie
all
about the
those
color
things.
drawers you got on. Keep lying.
Yeah.
But I don't have to believe you.
Exactly. I don't have to believe or buy into it. And
Exactly.
when I read the book Let Them Let Me, it opened up a lot of discoveries for me, because it's like you can only control, and a lot of times you go out of your way for people and they still don't appreciate it. So we're going to talk about
Yeah, we
that.
don't want to get into
No,
it
we're
now.
going to talk about it on our next podcast, on our third podcast. Yay.
Yes.
Let Them Let Me. And if you have not read the book yet, we suggest that you read it. Or Mel Robbins, if you watch any of her podcasts, she talks about it all the time. But when I tell you that it is life changing, it will be life
Oh,
changing for you. It was life changing for us. And, just listen, we're going to close this out by saying, be who God created you to be. Own your lane. I don't care if you're going 5 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour. Don't be speeding now. Don't be trying to rush to get somewhere, because we're all on the same highway.
yes.
We all going different speeds, but we all going to get to the destination exactly when God intends for us to be.
And God created one you.
Yes.
One you. So be that one person that he created in you and have faith in that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Peace.